billionaire begged his virgin maid, "Don't leave tonight," for 500K. She said yes then. Hello everyone and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now let's get into today's story. Billionaire begged his virgin maid, "Don't leave tonight." For 500K, she said yes then. Lyric Ashford had been cleaning Dante Sovereign's penthouse for exactly 3 months when everything changed. At 24, she was working 3 jobs: housekeeping during the day, bartending at night, weekend shifts at a coffee shop, all to pay off the medical debt from her mother's cancer treatment. Her mother had died 6 months ago, but the bills remained. $200,000 in medical debt that crushed her spirit every time she looked at the statements. Dante Sovereign was everything Lyric wasn't. 39 years old, CEO of Sovereign Tech worth $15 billion, devastatingly handsome with dark hair touched with silver at the temples, sharp features that had graced countless magazine covers. In 3 months of cleaning his 12,000-square-foot penthouse, they'd exchanged maybe 20 words total. He was always working, always traveling, barely noticing the woman who scrubbed his floors and organized his life. Until tonight. It was a Thursday in late November. Lyric was finishing her cleaning shift around 10 p.m., gathering her supplies from the storage closet, when she heard something that made her freeze. Crying. Not quiet tears. Deep, wrenching sobs that sounded like someone's soul was tearing apart, coming from the direction of Dante's bedroom. She should have left. Should have minded her own business. Rich people had problems too, and it wasn't her job to solve them. But something about the raw pain in those sobs, the sheer devastation, made her hesitate, made her think about her own grief, about crying alone in her tiny studio apartment after her mother died, wishing someone had been there. Lyric set down her cleaning supplies and walked slowly toward the master bedroom. The door was slightly ajar, warm light spilling into the darkened hallway. She knocked softly. "Mr. Sovereign? Are you okay?" The crying stopped abruptly. Silence stretched for several heartbeats. Then his voice, rough and broken. "Come in!" Lyric pushed open the door, and her breath caught. Dante Sovereign, the untouchable billionaire CEO, sat on the floor of his massive bedroom, still wearing his suit pants and white dress shirt. His tie was loosened and hanging askew, jacket discarded somewhere. He was surrounded by photographs scattered across the expensive hardwood floor, and his face was devastated, eyes red, cheeks wet with tears, expression completely shattered. "I'm sorry," Lyric said immediately, suddenly acutely aware she was intruding on something intensely private. "I shouldn't have. I heard you crying and I just wanted to make sure you were okay. I'll go." "Don't!" The word came out almost violently. "Don't leave. Please. I can't be alone tonight." Lyric hesitated in the doorway, completely out of her depth. This was her employer, a billionaire, someone so far above her social station they existed in different universes, and he was asking her, no, begging her to stay. "Mr. Sovereign, I don't think that's appropriate. Maybe you should call a friend or family member." "I don't have friends," Dante said, his voice hollow. "I have business associates, people who want something from me, a deal, a connection, money. But you don't want anything from me. You just clean my house and leave and never ask for more than your paycheck. That's why I need you to stay, just for tonight, please." "What happened?" Lyric asked quietly, taking a tentative step into the room. Dante gestured at the photographs scattered around him, and Lyric finally looked at them properly. A beautiful blonde woman, a little girl with dark curls and a gap-toothed smile. Family photos, beach vacations, Christmas mornings, birthday parties. "Today is the anniversary," Dante said, his voice breaking. 5 years since my wife and daughter died. Car accident on the way home from our daughter's ballet recital. Drunk driver ran a red light. They were killed instantly. And I wasn't there. I was supposed to go to the recital, but I was working, closing a merger with a Japanese firm that felt so important at the time. Now I can't even remember which company it was, but I remember missing my daughter's last performance. I remember that phone call from the hospital. I remember identifying their bodies. Lyric felt tears spring to her own eyes. "I'm so sorry. I can't imagine that kind of loss. My wife Sarah was 32 years old. My daughter Celeste was 7. She wanted to be a professional ballerina when she grew up. She had this ridiculous dream of dancing at Lincoln Center, and I missed her recital because I was too busy making money." Dante looked up at Lyric, and the desperation in his eyes was frightening. "Now I have $15 billion and nobody to spend it on. Nobody to love. Nobody who gives a damn whether I live or die beyond how it affects stock prices." He stood up slowly, swaying slightly like he was drunk, though Lyric didn't smell alcohol on him. Just grief. Just exhaustion. "I'll pay you to stay tonight," Dante said, and there was something almost manic in his voice. $500,000. Just don't leave me alone with these memories. "I can't, Lyric. I've been alone for 5 years and tonight I just can't do it anymore. Tonight, I'm not sure I want to wake up tomorrow. So I'm offering you $500,000 to give me a reason to make it through the night." Lyric's mind reeled. $500,000, more money than she'd see in 10 years of working 3 jobs, enough to pay off her mother's medical debt and have money left over to actually live, to breathe, to stop drowning. But this felt wrong, dangerous. A billionaire offering her $500,000 to stay the night. Every warning bell in her head was screaming. "Mr. Sovereign, you don't have to pay me to be human. If you need someone to sit with you tonight, I'll stay. No money required. You're clearly in crisis and I can't just walk away from that." "No." Dante shook his head violently. "It has to be a transaction. I don't accept charity. I don't accept pity." And Lyric... He paused, and she realized with a start that he actually knew her name. In 3 months, she'd assumed he didn't even register her existence. "I know about your mother's medical debt. I know you're working yourself to death across 3 jobs trying to pay it off. My assistant does background checks on everyone who works in my home. I know you have $200,000 in medical bills from a battle you lost. So this isn't charity for you either. It's payment for a service." "What service exactly?" Lyric asked carefully, her heart hammering. "What does stay the night mean?" "It means you sit with me. You talk to me. You keep me from being alone with my grief. That's all." Dante's voice softened. "Nothing sexual. Nothing inappropriate. Just company, human connection, someone who sees me as Dante instead of as a billionaire. Can you do that? Can you give me that for $500,000? Lyric looked at him, really looked at him. Saw past the expensive clothes and the billion-dollar empire to the broken man underneath. Saw grief she recognized because she'd lived it. Saw loneliness she understood because she felt it every day. And she made a decision that would change everything. Lyric said quietly, "I'll stay. But Mr. Sovereign, if I'm going to do this, you need to call me by my name. And I need to call you by yours. If we're going to get through tonight together, we do it as equals. As 2 people who understand loss. Can you do that?" "Dante," he said. "My name is Dante. And yes, equals. No boss and employee tonight. Just 2 people trying to survive grief." "Then sit down, Dante. Tell me about them. About Sarah and Celeste. Not about losing them, about loving them when they were alive." What followed was the strangest and most intimate night of Lyric's life. She sat on the floor with Dante Sovereign, Billionaire CEO, surrounded by photographs of his dead family, and listened to him talk about love and loss. He told her about meeting Sarah in college, both of them broke and ambitious. About their wedding with 40 guests and a cake from a grocery store because they couldn't afford anything fancy. About Sarah's pregnancy, the terror and joy of becoming a father. About Celeste's birth, 7 pounds 3 ounces, born at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, screaming her lungs out. She had her mother's eyes, Dante said, holding a photograph of Celeste at maybe 5 years old, missing both front teeth. This ridiculous blue-green color like the ocean. And she had the loudest laugh, this shrieking giggle that drove me crazy and made me laugh at the same time. God, I'd give anything to hear that laugh again. What did she love? Lyric asked gently. Besides ballet, dinosaurs. She was obsessed with velociraptors specifically, had this ratty stuffed velociraptor she slept with every night, named him Mr. Chomps, and she loved mac and cheese, the cheap box kind, not fancy restaurant versions. Said the orange powder was magic. Sarah and I used to joke that we could afford Michelin star restaurants, and our daughter wanted 99-cent box mac and cheese. They talked for hours. Dante told stories. Funny ones, sad ones, ordinary moments that had seemed insignificant at the time, but now felt precious. Lyric listened, asked questions, and occasionally shared her own stories about her mother, about the 18-month battle with cancer, about choosing to care for her mother full-time instead of working, watching their savings evaporate, about the guilt of relief when her mother finally died and the suffering ended. People don't talk about that, Lyric said around 2 a.m., accepting the coffee Dante had made, expensive stuff from some machine that probably cost more than her car. The relief when someone dies after suffering. Everyone acts like you should only feel sad, but I felt relieved. She was in so much pain at the end. Death was mercy. Does that make me a terrible daughter? It makes you human, Dante said. I felt relief too when the hospital called. Not about Sarah and Celeste dying, that destroyed me, but relief that I didn't have to see them suffer. They died instantly, didn't feel pain. That's the only mercy in the whole nightmare. Around 3 a.m., Dante asked something that had clearly been on his mind. Can I ask you something personal? You can tell me it's none of my business. You're paying me $500,000 to stay the night. I think personal questions are allowed. Have you ever been in love? Ever been in a relationship? Lyric felt her face heat. This was humiliating, but he'd been honest with her all night. She could return the favor. No, never. I'm 24 and I've never even been on a real date. Never been kissed. Never been with anyone in any way. Dante looked surprised. Never. Why not? Lots of reasons. In high school, I was focused on getting scholarships for college. In college, I was working 2 jobs and studying. Then my mom got sick and I spent every free moment caring for her or working to pay bills. There was never time for dating, never energy for relationships. So I'm 24 years old and completely inexperienced. Pretty pathetic, right? It's not pathetic, it's sacrifice. Lyric, you gave up your youth to care for your mother. That's not something to be ashamed of. That's something to be proud of. Doesn't feel like something to be proud of. Feels like I missed out on life. I'll never catch up to where normal people are. I'm a 42-year-old billionaire who hasn't touched another person with genuine affection in 5 years, Dante said quietly. Who pays his housekeeper $500,000 to sit with him because he's too broken to form actual human connections. Trust me, Lyric, we're both missing out on life. Just different versions of the same loneliness. Around 4 a.m., exhaustion started catching up with both of them. Dante looked at Lyric with something like desperation. Will you stay until morning? Actually sleep here? I know that's beyond what we agreed, but I don't want to wake up alone tomorrow. I can't face tomorrow alone. I'll pay you more if you want. Whatever you need. Dante, stop trying to pay me extra for basic human decency, Lyric said, though her voice was gentle. Yes, I'll stay until morning. but I'm sleeping on your couch, not in your bed. We need boundaries. There are 6 guest rooms. The couch is fine, close enough that you won't be alone, far enough that this stays appropriate. Lyric slept on Dante's massive leather couch, covered by a cashmere throw blanket that probably cost more than her monthly rent. She woke around 8 a.m. to find Dante sitting in the chair across from her, watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "How long have you been staring at me?" Lyric asked, sitting up and running fingers through her tangled hair. "An hour, maybe. Couldn't sleep, didn't want to wake you. And Lyric, I need to tell you something." "Okay." She braced herself, unsure what was coming. "Last night you saved my life. I'm not being dramatic or exaggerating. I was in a very dark place, dark enough that I genuinely didn't know if I wanted to see another sunrise. You stayed. You listened to me talk about Sarah and Celeste for hours without judgment. You shared your own grief and made me feel less alone. That's worth more than $500,000, but that's what you're paying me. Actually, I'm paying you $1 million. Lyric blinked, certain she'd misheard. "What?" $500,000 was for staying the night, keeping me company, saving my life. Another $500,000 is for showing me something I'd forgotten existed: hope, connection, the possibility that I might be able to feel human again instead of just going through the motions of existence. You gave me a gift last night, Lyric. You reminded me why life is worth living. That's worth $1 million. Dante, that's insane. I can't accept $1 million for one night of conversation. You can and you will. The transfer happens this morning. Your medical debt will be cleared by noon. The rest is yours to build whatever life you want. But Lyric, he leaned forward, intense. I need to ask you something, and you need to know you can say no without any consequences. What? Can I see you again? Not as a transaction, not as your employer, as someone who wants to know you better, who wants to explore whatever this connection was that we found last night. I know it's complicated. I know the power dynamics are all wrong, but I haven't felt this alive in 5 years, haven't wanted to know someone in 5 years. So I'm asking, will you have dinner with me? A real date? Lyric stared at him. You want to date me? Your housekeeper who you just paid $1 million? You're not my housekeeper anymore. You're fired, effective immediately. You're firing me so you can date me. I'm removing the power imbalance so I can ask you on a proper date without it being unethical. Lyric, you saw me at my absolute worst last night. You saw me crying on my bedroom floor, desperate and broken, and you didn't run. Didn't judge, didn't try to take advantage. You just cared. That's incredibly rare, and I want to see if what I'm feeling is just grief and loneliness or something real. And if it's just grief and loneliness, then we figure that out together like adults. But Lyric, I haven't felt hope in 5 years. Haven't wanted to wake up and face the day in 5 years. You did that. In one night of honest conversation, you reminded me that life has meaning beyond balance sheets and business deals. Let me take you to dinner. Let me get to know the person you are when you're not cleaning my house or holding my hand through grief. Please. Lyric looked at this man, this billionaire who'd been broken by unimaginable loss and had somehow found a spark of something in her presence. It was crazy, completely insane. But her mother had always said the best things in life required courage. One date, Lyric said. We see if this is real or just two lonely people finding temporary comfort. But Dante, regardless of how the date goes, I'm keeping the $1 million. Dante laughed, actually laughed, and it transformed his whole face. I wouldn't expect anything less. That money is yours no matter what. Now how about breakfast? And Lyric, thank you. For staying last night, for giving me a reason to face today, for reminding me I'm still human underneath the CEO armor. Thank you for trusting me with your grief, for being vulnerable, for showing me that even billionaires need someone to stay when the night gets too dark. Because sometimes the most desperate offers don't leave tonight for $500,000, become the beginning of everything. Sometimes accepting payment for simple human kindness opens doors nobody expected. And sometimes two broken people finding each other on the worst night imaginable creates the foundation for healing neither thought possible, proving that transactions can become connections. Money can facilitate but never replace genuine care, and love can grow from the most unlikely and inappropriate beginnings into something real and transformative. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Dante and Lyric's story of a desperate offer turning into unexpected connection touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.